Now at 6, did the U.S. strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities really destroy their ability to create a nuclear bomb? What a new report found.
Plus, who could soon see a $25 minimum wage in the city of San Diego? And a massive spike in gas prices, why it could cost you up to $1,000 more per year on gas in just a matter of days.
Watching CBS 8 Mornings at 6.
All right, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us here at 6 a.m. I'm Chris Grau.
And I'm Nada Iranpour, and Evan's been warning us the heat is going to be coming, so let's check in and see, what are you talking about? Like New York kind of heat?
No, luckily, okay. Well, unless you're out in Borrego Springs.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yes,
okay.
That's where we're hitting 110 by the upcoming afternoons. But for most of our coastal communities in the valleys, 70s and 80s.
Okay.
It should be a lot more manageable. Out by the coastline, average for us would be right around 70. Should be making it to the low 70s, 72, 73 degrees by the time we peak in this heat wave. But across our inland valleys, that's where we have a much better chance of making it to about 85 to even 90 degrees by the upcoming weekend. In the meantime, today, right around 70 out by the water, 81 inland, 85 for the mountains, and 103 out for the deserts. Here's that warming trend that continues through the upcoming weekend. In just a few minutes, we'll talk about what to expect out toward those local mountains and deserts. Back to you.
All right, Evan, thank you for that. And now this morning, a fragile ceasefire between Israel and Iran continues to hold at this hour after both countries violated the agreement hours after it took effect. That was yesterday.
This comes as a new U.S. intelligence report found last weekend strikes on 3 Iranian nuclear sites may have only set their program back by a few months. Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson said the strikes badly damaged the country's nuclear facilities, but the U.S. report found it did not totally destroy the facilities and that large amounts of Iran's uranium levels are largely intact. This contradicts what President Trump has previously said, who is now in the Netherlands for the NATO summit. Democrats and some Republicans are now demanding answers on President Trump's decision to launch strikes without consulting Congress. Classified briefings are now pushed to tomorrow. And this morning, we are learning a San Diego man, along with 11 other Iranian nationals nationwide, were arrested by ICE agents.
Federal agents arrested 57-year-old Arkavan Miracorli on Monday. He is now in ICE custody pending removal proceedings. The arrests appear to be in response to the bombing in Iran and the fear of retaliation inside the U.S. A local immigration attorney said all of the nationals targeted have criminal convictions. Miracorli is married with 5 children. According to court paperwork, Miracorli was convicted of forgery of an official seal in 2001, and that was expunged. CBS 8 reached out to DHS for more information. They did not provide any further details. In other news, here at 9 this morning, San Diego City Council Committee will consider a $25 minimum wage for hospitality workers.
Yeah, this would be for hotel, event center, and janitorial workers starting next year. CBS 8's Regina Yarita live downtown to explain why not everyone with the proposal agrees here. Right, Regina?
Yeah, that's right, Chris. Not everybody is on board. Like you mentioned, it's not just hospitality workers, but also event centers. So that not only includes the Hilton Bayfront, but also the Padres. And the Padres CEO has also spoke out about this and is not 100% in favor of it, because he says that this could also bring significant changes to some of the pay that they already give the workers. They already say that they give the highest pay or minimum wage to their workers. So Councilman Sean Elo Rivera is the one who introduced the proposal. The ordinance as it stands now would include hospitality workers at amusement parks, event centers, hotels with at least 150 rooms, and zoos within the city of San Diego. The newly drafted proposal shares how hotel workers earning the minimum wage should not be struggling to survive in San Diego, as these workers are the face of the city, adding that the hotel industry is one of the biggest economic drivers in San Diego, but hospitality workers are also the ones who struggle the hardest financially. Elo Rivera's staff cited labor statistics that show the median hourly wage of housekeepers is nearly $19, far below what a living wage would be in San Diego with its high cost of living. On the other hand, though, business leaders recently spoke out against the proposal. They criticized how this would impact employers, as several owners also called out the way some industries are being picked over others. So back out here, Elo Rivera says there is still lots of room for negotiation. That is why this committee is taking place at 9 a.m. So we'll keep you guys updated as we hear more and learn more about this proposal. For now, I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Regina. This morning, looming federal budget cuts are threatening the county's now passed budget. The Board of Supervisors passed the $8.6 billion budget yesterday. But President Trump's, quote, big beautiful bill is set to go to a Senate vote this week. It includes hundreds of millions of dollars in cuts. These include cuts to Medicaid, housing assistance, and food benefits for more than 1 million residents in our county. Costs that the county would have to try to cover. The county is now working to assess the potential impact and come up with a plan to address the shortfalls.
We have a plan before we have the crisis. The crisis is now.
Right now, GOP leaders in Congress are scrambling to secure enough support to pass President Trump's bill. The bill also would extend trillions of dollars in tax cuts and raise the debt ceiling. And the County Board of Supervisors also passed a 5-point action plan to help address the long-running sewage crisis in the South Bay. It calls for eliminating toxic hotspots in stormwater and drainage systems, upgrading air filters and ventilation systems in schools, conducting health and economic impact studies, and appointing a county sewage crisis chief. The plan was authored by Imperial Beach Mayor Paloma Aguirre, who is currently running for the board's open District 1 seat.
It's about fairness. It's about the right to breathe clean air, to drink safe water, and to walk your children to school without covering their noses.
The plan calls for up to $18 million to be allocated from the county budget.
Today, contract negotiations for about 45,000 grocery store workers across Southern California will resume. This after union workers for Albertsons, Ralph's, and Vons grocery stores authorized a work stoppage earlier this month. That's if negotiations go south. As of now, the strike authorization, just a bargaining tool, increasing the stakes in what the union hopes will bring urgency to the negotiations. The workers' contract expired in March. The union says they're asking for better wages and better benefits. In a statement made earlier this month, a spokesperson for Albertsons, Vons, and Pavilions said they, quote, remain committed to negotiating in good faith and to reach an agreement that is fair to our employees, good for our customers. And this morning, residents in Claremont, many of them able to go back home after this fire broke out yesterday. All evacuation orders and warnings were lifted last night. Look at all that smoke, though, burning in the canyon there. This fire burned about 3 acres. And at last check, San Diego Fire Department saying it is 90% contained, almost a full line around it. At one point, flames got dangerously close to homes on Cowley Way before ground and aerial fire crews stopped its progress. Thankfully, they did that. Yeah, pretty close to homes there.
They did, especially right before we get this heat up that's happening here, 6:08 here on this Wednesday morning. And Evan, you've been obviously previewing that expected increase in temps.
Yeah, jump in by a bit. I will say, like we've talked about, it's not as intense as what the East Coast has seen. Okay. We'll get a little bit of influence from the same ridge of high pressure, but it is going to stay out east, and another ridge of high pressure out to our west is going to stay where it is as well. So we're picking up on more of what we'd call zonal flow, but that's going to allow for a warm up in temperatures nonetheless as we head through the next many days. Take a look at how hot the rest of the country is expected to get today. 103 in St. Louis, 102 in Nashville, 103 in Atlanta, D.C. at 105, along with Philly. Finally starting to see a little bit of cooling in Detroit and Minneapolis, where they were previously in the triple digits and now starting to see slightly cooler temperatures. I mean, Detroit still going for 87 degrees. This trough of low pressure starts to make its way up north, and we pick up, like I mentioned, on more zonal flow. There's not necessarily a huge ridge that's building, but across the southern U.S. and the western U.S., we'll finally start to see some of these warmer temperatures prevail. This afternoon, it doesn't manifest as much. It's a little bit of a warm up from yesterday, but we're more so relying on that day-to-day transition building. So 2-3 degrees of change each and every day this week will eventually manifest as 10, 15, 20 degrees of overall change. And that's where things become a little bit more noticeable. Santee and El Cajon, 78 this afternoon. Mira Mesa going for 75. Still cooler and more mild out by the coast. 66 for La Jolla, 68 in PB, 78 for Escondido, 77 for RB and Poway, and 84 in Ramona. A hike across the mountain is going to look a lot warmer today than yesterday. 80 for Julian and Mount Laguna, 85 for Campo, Borrego Springs, Ocotillo Wells, our deserts, warming to about 102. Here's a live look outside at that sunrise. That sunset won't come until 8 p.m. We still have a good layer of clouds out by the coast and inland, but are relying heavily on a lot of afternoon sunshine. Let's check in on your roads. We do have one spot to take you to that is new on our traffic maps where a crash just popped up. So this is just around the South Park area, it looks like. We have plenty of stop and go traffic on the northbound lanes of the 805 and the right-hand shoulder blocked with a crash on the 805 northbound right before the 94 freeway. So that's where you could be running into some delays from National City up to about the South Park area. CHP is on scene working to clear that as quickly as they can as we make our way through this 6 o'clock hour. Let's take a look at your border wait times, where it is a 100-minute wait at the San Ysidro Port of Entry. Otay Mesa Port of Entry going to get you across about 20 minutes faster. You should be able to make it across in about an hour or 20 overall.